Communication is not a solo effort, that communication is always about you and other people. And so dual perspective is always keeping the person's viewpoint in mind and actually valuing their viewpoint as much as your own. We all have different opinions about things like religion or politics or even pizza toppings. But when you're talking to someone, it's important to really listen and to value what they have to say. When you're speaking to someone, are you listening just to think about what you're going to say next? Or are you thinking about what they're actually saying? Are you listening to listen? That's what engaging in dual perspective is all about. My second tip is owning your feelings. Yes, because your feelings are important, but more than that, you're not putting the blame on someone else. So instead of "you made me mad," "you made me feel humiliated," "you made me feel stupid," instead of putting the blame on someone else using what's called you language, it's recommended to use what's called I language, where you start each statement talking about how you feel. So I felt embarrassed when you mentioned my problems in front of the group. That not only owns your feelings and takes some responsibility for your own feelings because no one else can control them, but it also is less likely to make people feel defensive in these scenarios. So make sure you own your feelings and talk to someone using I language. The third tip is to be considerate of other people's feelings. Respecting other people's emotions and thoughts is one of the cornerstones of effective interpersonal communication. And so if you've ever been in a scenario where someone told you that you shouldn't feel this way, then you know, chances are, how damaging that statement, that phrase can be, because there's no right or wrong way to feel. And so it's important to be considerate as other people share their deepest thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and to let them speak in those scenarios. Finally, my last tip is to strive for clarity in communication. We all had awkward scenarios where someone says, "Hey, let's hang out," and you don't really know what they mean. Does that mean that you're going to go to their place? Are you going to meet somewhere? Is there going to be food? Can you bring people? Is it a date? There's lots of questions that arise even in a vague statement like "let's hang out." To say, "Hey, why don't you come over and watch the game and then later we'll go get some pizza," is a very clear statement in comparison to "let's hang out." Obviously, abstract kind of language works with the people that you're closest to, but there are even some scenarios where that's really, really important. Let's imagine a scenario where your spouse or your roommate says, "You need to do more around the house." And that statement in itself, while it might be exactly what they mean, isn't very helpful to you in that scenario, right? What does that mean? Be more helpful around the house? Should you be doing different chores? Is there a dog that you need to take for a walk? Should you be helping with dinner more often? Should you empty the dishwasher a little more often? So finding clarity in those kind of scenarios where there's conflict is really important, and especially when you're talking about deep things in a relationship, it's important to be clear and accurate in those things. So if your significant other says, "I really wish we could be closer," there's a variety of things that could mean. So it's important in those scenarios to find out what the other person wants, and when you're sharing, to be as clear and accurate as possible. Those are 4 tips for improving your verbal communication. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be glad to talk to you more about it. Thanks again.